Hello everybody, we are back here on the Hunter Call of the Wild, and today's video is going to be talking about the potential future for great ones in the Hunter Call of the Wild. And what better video to do that than the one where we are going to be hunting some whitetail for our own great one grind right here on Layton Lakes. So recently there was a comment that ended up winning a giveaway for a video idea and of course a gift card as well. And well, they had something else interesting in that comment that I really wanted to talk about. And that was the possibility that we could get two great ones in one update here in the Hunter Call of the Wild. Now, you may be thinking, that's probably never going to happen. Why would they ever do that? That seems like a lot of work that they're not typically known for doing all in one update. And I think the first thing that makes me think that this is a possibility is that recently EW has had much more of a focus on the free content in the game. Over the last couple updates, a lot of the stuff that they've added in has been more quality of life changes and just free additions like the Great One Moose, loadouts, a free trophy lodge, things like that. And so it really makes me wonder, will they possibly work on getting two Great Ones in one update to give some more free content, as well as bringing Hirschfelden up to 3 Great Ones just like Layton Lakes? Because I do think that this would be a really good opportunity for them to try and get more free content in the game, as well as getting Hirschfelden to have the exact same amount of Great Ones that Layton currently does. Because they've been doing a lot of Layton-based Great Ones, and Hirschfelden currently only has one, which is the Red Deer. And so the more I read this comment talking about how they could potentially add 2 Great Ones, it really got me thinking, like, yeah, I could totally see that as a possibility. It's totally possible that in one of these updates, instead of adding like stuff like loadouts or lodges or little things like that alongside a small DLC like a weapon pack, maybe they will do something called the Great One update, where they'll add a couple free Great Ones into the game, and it'll probably be Hirschfelden Great Ones to bring it up to the same standard as Layton. And obviously, if Great One grinding isn't really your thing, this probably would not excite you, and in that case, this video really isn't targeted towards the people that don't like Great Ones. This is more targeting those of you that do enjoy Great One grinding and want to see more Great Ones on Hirschfelden. And I do think it's just a matter of time before they get to a point where they add more than one Great One in one update, especially if they do want to kind of bring Hirschfelden up to the same standard as Layton in terms of Great One grinding. Because right now, Layton is really one of the best in terms of the whitetail. It's also not bad for moose if you're willing to search for them in the brush. Black bear are kind of difficult, but that's kind of just how they are on every single map, so there's really nothing new there. But if they ended up doing this, what Great Ones would we end up getting? I do think that it is very likely that we would get Euro Bison and fallow deer, as I've stated in previous videos as well. I do think they are the most logical choices. European Bison would be the first horned Great One, and it also is a very unique and cool species. And as far as the fallow deer goes, it is one of the most requested Great Ones that we have ever had in the Hunter Call of the Wild. So in my opinion, it would be a no-brainer to add both of those. Another thing I've thought about is what kind of update would this go well with, because they can't just add a couple of Great Ones and call that the update. Obviously, they would need to add something else to keep everybody happy, and I think what they could do is maybe call this something like the Grinders Update or the Great Update, and then just do a lot of quality of life stuff that helps those of us that spend an absurd amount of time grinding for Great Ones and stuff. And I think a really good thing that you could put along with an update like this that could be considered something that's helpful to people that have a lot of trophies from grinding is Trophy Lodge filters. Now, you may wonder why that is such a big thing. I know I've seen a lot of people asking why Trophy Lodge filters would be a good thing. It's not necessarily lodge filters, I guess, but more of filters for the trophy manager. A lot of times when you do a lot of Great One grinds, or really any grinds, it doesn't even have to be Great Ones, you build up a lot of trophies that you've taxed over the years, and there's a good chance that there's quite a few of them that at this point in your time playing the game, you no longer want some of those trophies. If we go ahead and take a look in the trophy manager here, we will see that I've got obviously a lot of animals taxed, and well, if we scroll down, you will quickly see what I'm talking about. This is a lot of trophies, and one of the biggest problems with their system for deleting trophies is if I see a trophy in here that I want to delete, right, and I click the delete button, it will reset the list clear to the top, and I have to scroll down and find the next one all over again. And just a simple filter that lets us filter via the species and fur type and possibly metal rating as well. And just select like which one we want for each of these. Like there could be a drop-down menu on trophy rating, fur, species, and maybe even the time frame that you killed it. And you could just select what you want for each of them. Like I could select diamond, fur type, tan, and then I could select moose. And it would show me all of the tan diamond moose, which I think would be a really good system to ease up the issues with the trophy manager currently, because there is a lot of problems with just sorting through trophies and figuring out like where your trophies are in here. And obviously, like I said earlier, this is not really an update that would be geared towards players that aren't necessarily grinders, as you may not have the same issues. But at this point in time, Call of the Wild's been out for quite a long time. There's a lot of people that have gotten into the grinding part of the game, and though it may still not be the majority of players, I do think every once in a while I need to make a video that's based on like the stuff I'd like to see, features related to those types of players. Because we do quite a lot of videos here speculating future updates that are kind of just in general, and I don't think I've ever done a video like this talking about features I'd like to see to not necessarily make grinding easier, because that's not something that I want, but I do want to see a few things get added that make it less annoying. And this would be one of them. Trophy Lodge filters or Trophy Manager filters, a must in this game, honestly. They also recently put out a fix here in Call of the Wild that made it so animals get to their drink zones a little bit quicker than they did previously. And a lot of people, to be honest, didn't even think that it took effect, but it definitely did. This was not supposed to be an update that made it so everything instantly gets to their zones. It was just meant to make them a little bit more consistent, and that really is what it did. I have seen a lot of animals get to their zones quicker, but definitely nowhere near instantaneously, which I think is what a lot of people expected. And to be honest, I don't think they will ever go back to being in zones instantaneously. The developers have said a couple times that they don't want everything to get there instantly, because that kind of removes a lot of the need for going to different places. You get a lot of situations where if they're just there instantaneously, there's no reason to look in other places, or it just gets too predictable and too easy. And I believe recently on the EW stream, Jaxie Beard even said that animals are not supposed to always go back to their same need zones either. They are supposed to just kind of go to a general area. They don't always go to the same spot, which I did find very interesting that they actually said that, because we suspected it for a very long time. Another thing that I think they could put alongside a quote-unquote grinders update like we've been talking about today is possibly making it so some of the maps where moose, whitetail, and bear are insanely spread out, maybe they could condense them to one specific side of the map, like some of the species used to be, back when everybody agreed that a lot of the maps were in better states than they currently are. I remember there was a few different situations where during these population redistributions they've done, they moved animals to a point where they could be anywhere on the map, and that was not a popular change by the majority of the player base. A lot of players don't expect every single animal to be spread across the whole map. It would make sense that in some areas you'd find more of one species than another. For example, the way that Leighton Lakes has done the whitetail and the blacktail and the elk, I feel is the way to go for future maps, as well as some reworks for current maps that I think would go over really well. So right now on Leighton Lakes, whitetail can be on the left half of the map. Pretty much anywhere from the end of this little cross section from the right side of it, clear over to the left border, is where you can find whitetail. You can find them all through Balmont Swamp, you can find them down on the south coast, but you cannot find them over on the very right side, or this right river, or the right shoreline. But what you can find over there is blacktail deer and Roosevelt elk. And I believe the moose are also only on the side with the whitetail. And I do think this is a really good way to set up your maps. That way you kind of know the general area of where to go, but it's still a pretty wide area to search. But it's not to the point where it's like, if you want to find a species just attempt to find it everywhere. And I also think this would benefit a lot of species that don't have great ones as well, or that people don't commonly grind, because let's face it, the fact that mountain lions and bears kind of are near each other all the time on Silverage Peaks is a little bit strange, especially since they seem to scare off the bears quite a bit as well. It's definitely not something that we expect to see, especially if you are used to like real life stuff. there really is no reason why a bunch of mountain lions would be like resting around where some bears are drinking. It's a little bit strange. So I do think that there is definitely some species that need to be in different parts of the map instead of constantly around each other. And I think that would be good for the game in the long run. And New England Mountains is probably one of the most prime examples of exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of people, when that map was released, were expecting it to be a really good map for stuff like moose and whitetail and black bear. And they were kind of selling the map as if it was going to be a really good grinding map. And then when the map actually releases, we learn that you can literally find every species pretty much everywhere on the map, or at least the majority of the species, to the point where there's over 200 different drink zones for moose, which is kind of insane. That is a lot of ground to cover that no normal player would be able to cover. So I do think some more reworks to some of the populations of animals could be a good thing in the future of the game, just to give them some, I guess, more limited home ranges that make a little bit more sense. Again, there's probably quite a few of you that are going to disagree with that point right there, but I'm kind of expecting that, as it is something that I'm sure not everybody agrees on. Another cool thing that could be thrown in with an update like this is potentially non-typical antlers, or even just the ability for typical antlers like this to get a little sticker or drop tine off the side of the antler or off the bottom of the antler. I think that would be a really good thing to add in with it to give more variety, so that when you do a grind like this, you actually have more possibilities for trophies. And if they do ever add in non-typicals with an update like this, I do think they should be treated just as rares in the game. It would make sense that they would be something that you don't find quite as common as a diamond. And I'm talking about like a big non-typical, not necessarily just a couple stickers or drop tines. Those obviously should be something that you find quite commonly, because in real life, it's very common for a deer to have a sticker or a drop tine off of it, even if it's just like a small one, not necessarily anything crazy. But I do think that if they ever add in non-typicals as a feature, any of the giant non-tips that look similar to like a great one whitetail, but obviously different, I don't think they should be as common as just a little flyer or a sticker or a drop tine or whatever you would like to call them. I think it should have a higher rarity, and I think about the same rarity as rares would be a really good place for it. And also make it so that they spawn just like rares, where it's just like a random thing that you can get alongside your kills. Honestly, this video is turning into a much longer video than I intended. I was just going to do like a quick 5 or 6 minute video saying that I wanted to see 2 great ones in an update, and it's kind of turned into a talking about what I think should go with that update as well type of video. And honestly, with that being said, I think we will go ahead and end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, even though it was much longer than I intended it to be originally. But I still hope that you guys loved it. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, click that like button, and ring that notification bell so that you guys will never miss any of the future uploads. And I will see you all in the next one.